journey towards women's suffrage started all the way back in 1776 with Abigail Adams' famous letter, "Remember the Ladies." I desire you would remember the ladies, and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Do not put such unlimited power into the hands of the husbands. Remember, all men would be tyrants if they could.
In 1848, one of the most major events in women's history occurred, the signing of the Declaration of Rights and Sentiments at the Seneca Falls Convention, which was led by Lucretia Mott and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Since then, these two have become very well-known feminists and abolitionists.
We're clearly soldiers in petticoats, dauntless crusaders for women's votes. Though we adore men individually, we agree that as a group they're rather stupid. Cast off the shackles of yesterday.
During the late 1800s, women began to find their voice in social reform. One of the most notable reform groups at the time was the Women's Christian Temperance Union, founded in 1873 and led by Frances Willard. This movement also went towards prohibition, which was led primarily by women.
In 1890, the National American Women's Suffrage Association was founded and became the most mainstream pro-suffrage group in its time. Susan B. Anthony, a notable feminist and women's rights supporter, was the president of this association from 1892 to 1900.
Alice Paul was a member of the National American Women's Suffrage Association, but eventually broke off and made her own impact by co-founding the Congressional Union and the National Women's Party in 1916. She and her colleagues were imprisoned and participated in hunger strikes for the sake of suffrage. Alice Paul is seen to be the pivotal force in the women's rights movement because it is believed that her tactics were one of the main reasons why Woodrow Wilson deemed women's suffrage to be necessary as a war measure. This was extremely beneficial to the movement.
In August of 1920, the 19th Amendment was finally passed. Although women were allowed suffrage in certain states beforehand, this amendment allowed all women in all states to vote. Many other people who helped to make this happen and did what they could in the name of feminism include Sojourner Truth, Helen Keller, Lucy Stone, and Frederick Douglass. Despite this, it is important to note that although they legally had the right to vote, African American women were usually sabotaged by racism so that they struggled to vote in the South.
The 19th Amendment is definitely one of, if not the biggest events in feminism. However, although women have the right to vote, women still struggle with disadvantages due to their gender. Many feminists fighting against this in our current society include Oprah Winfrey, Hillary Clinton, Angelina Jolie, Beyonce, and Michelle Obama.